Full-time RVing, selling all your belongings to live in a small camper traveling around the country with no home base to land? Could you do it? On today's podcast, we have Olivia and Kyle, or, as a lot of people have known them, Drivin and Vibin, and they did exactly that 5 years ago. And guess what else? They've also made it into a successful business with a YouTube channel and blog. These two took the chance of having a life-changing experience traveling the country full-time and shared their tips, tricks, failures, successes, and overall knowledge of their experiences. Why did they take this chance, and what did they learn from it?
Welcome to the Cutting Edge Garage Podcast.
So this week we're with Kyle and Olivia from Drivin and Vibin. Kyle and Olivia, thank you guys for taking the time to be with us this week.
Thank you for having us.
Glad to be here.
So, obviously we're an automotive tool company, and you guys are a little bit outside of the norm of the guests that we normally have here, but you have an amazing story that I thought would be awesome to share with people that may not have already found you guys on YouTube. So tell us a little bit about Drivin and Vibin and who you are and what you do.
Cool. So you go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I'm Olivia, Brady, and Kyle, and we basically set out on this adventure to live minimally and deliberately by traveling the country in our 1985 Fiberstream, which is a small molded fiberglass travel trailer.
And we got the idea in 2014, launched in 2015, and we did it for 5 years until we kind of came off the road as part-time RVers now.
Okay. And so where did the idea come from?
Well, we were on a walk down by the bay, and our friends just got back from a month-long trip to Glacier National Park, a few other national parks out west. And, these friends of ours were working the same type of jobs we were working and, very comparable lifestyles. And I thought, if these folks can do it, there's no reason why we can't take a trip.
Yeah, and I also had followed lots of Instagram accounts and YouTube channels and Facebook pages of these people that were living full-time in their RVs and traveling around in their vans and just whole families living life on the road. And I thought that was such a really cool concept, and I loved that. And we were just kind of saying, I wish we could do something like that. And when we really thought about it, we were like, well, why can't we? Every excuse that came up was just that, an excuse. It wasn't a real roadblock stopping us. So right then and there, we decided that this is what we wanted to be our goal, that in a year's time that we would hit the road, that we would find our rig, we would save the money that we could, and then hit the road and just get rid of all of our stuff and see where it took us.
So and we'll get to this in a minute. So, but you fast forward that story till you guys made a business out of this, and you've been very blessed and very successful in what you're doing. But in the early stages, that was you two both agreeing. Like, so this wasn't Kyle. This wasn't you saying, "Come on, honey, please, let's do this," or vice versa, right?
Yeah, and I mean that is the case with some of the full-time RVers that we made friends with. Is that it took a little convincing from one side or the other.
Yeah.
But in this case, we were both inspired by our friends' trip, and we thought, let's make a lifestyle out of this. And we were both on board from day one.
Yeah, but we knew like a vacation wasn't just going to cut it, because that kind of is stressful. It's like you have to do all this planning, and then you try to cram all this sightseeing and adventure into 2 weeks, and then you're on a whirlwind to get back home. And I kind of wanted to take our time, get to know a place, get a feel for a place, and it just didn't seem like we could do that in any short segmented time. And to get the full experience that we wanted to do it full-time as our daily life and find a way to make a living on the road so that we could support ourselves. And the blog and YouTube channel was not a part of that equation in the beginning, and we kind of accidentally stumbled onto that path, which we're still doing today, and is still our income today.
So, first trip, was it everything that you had dreamed it was, or was it one of those, I'm not 100% sure this is for us? How did that go?
So I look back on that first kind of 6 months on the road, and it's like we'll never be able to relive such an amazing time again, because it was so new and so exciting, and we were so inexperienced at the time. So I really prized that first like 6 months, and it was amazing.
So many firsts happened in that short amount of time. But I would also say that first year was also the hardest too. It was the most exciting and exhilarating, but the learning curve was large, and just figuring out all these things. We weren't campers really growing up.
Never.
We never owned an RV before.
Never towed an RV before.
Yes, and we had your little Ranger truck that we were towing with at the time, stick shift, so going up these mountain passes and down them were quite stressful. So it's like all of that mixed in, but I don't think we ever doubted it was the wrong decision. We felt confident that this is where we were supposed to be.
That's awesome. So the YouTube channel and the blog and everything has evolved into a business, but that wasn't part of the plan in the beginning.
Not at all. So after about 6 months on the road, we were coming up on like January, February of 2016. And during that time of year is whenever all the RVers gather in Arizona. It was new to us. We didn't really plan to go there, but the few friends we did make were going there. So we thought, all right, we'll go to this gathering and see what happens. And at that gathering, one of the guys we met told me, if I make a YouTube channel, I can stay at RV parks for free if I make a video about the RV park. And I thought, I'm making a YouTube channel because I want to stay at RV parks for free. And that was the most simple business plan that I had in the beginning.
That's pretty cool. So, and how many subscribers do you have now?
We're right at 102,000 now.
Just a couple?
Yeah. So,
one or two?
And that's great too. And also our website, to give me a little shout out to our website, gets about 2 million views a month.
And
so
what's the website? What's the address?
drivinvibin.com. No G's.
No G's.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it grew out of that small idea, and it grew very slowly, and it grew very stressfully because Olivia, I really had to twist her arm to get on camera.
Yeah, I'm very nervous on camera. And
You don't look like it.
oh, well, thank you.
You look like you've mastered that.
Well.
Yeah.
Well, after like 300 or so videos, you kind of find a little bit of a groove with it. So I definitely kind
See,
of
John,
found
you
my
can
rhythm.
do this and feel comfortable. Just
Yeah,
300.
she's way better than me on camera now. I'm like, I still look stiff on camera.
But we did have the blog before that, but that was kind of like a personal, just kind of diary of sorts of what we were doing and our travels and just documenting this for ourselves and for our family and friends back home. It wasn't meant to really be a business or be informative yet, but kind of as we moved along too, what kept me motivated about the YouTube channel was being able to share our story in the unique way that we did it, because we didn't have a lot of money going into this. We didn't have a ton of money saved up. We didn't have the fanciest rig, but we did a lot of planning, and we put ourselves in a position to set ourselves up to be successful, living on a strict budget, and you're really thinking things through so that we could live minimally and deliberately, as we like to say.
And what we saw on YouTube at the time during our research for the year before we launched was a lot of people doing it, spending more money than we were. So we were thinking, I don't even know if this is possible on the budget that we have. So we did want to share that info.
Yeah, because I never knew I could travel like that, and not have to have like this huge amount of money going into it.
See the country.
Totally.
Yes.
And
have these amazing experiences.
how much of a burden does that lift off of you that everybody else carries around? So for me personally, one of the things that I found so intriguing about what you do, I've been fortunate to have a successful business. With that comes headaches, most of them in the form of employees. No, I'm just kidding. But there's a lot of stress and there's a lot of burden that goes with that. And what I found so intriguing about what you do is that your lifestyle was kind of void of those daily pressures, or at least appeared to be void of those daily pressures that everybody else feels.
There are two sides to every story, and that was there for us. We were totally stress-free on some parts. It was like we'd wake up in the morning and be like, I have nothing to do today, I have nothing to do tomorrow.
We plan our own schedule, work on our own time.
And just live life. But every trip to the grocery store was a stressful experience because we were...
rice and beans, beans and rice?
I could not go in the store with Olivia because I would give her evil look every time she put something in the cart.
Yeah, it was one of those things that before we hit the road, Kyle was a full-time musician. I worked in the restaurant industry, and we were eating out every day. It was kind of just like, willy-nilly, just whatever we wanted went. But then, we hit the road, and we were trying to make this new business work. We had an Etsy shop at the time. That's how we were supporting ourselves, and that income could be really
I'm sorry, what
consistent.
kind of shop?
So we sold antique maps and prints online, and that's what we
yeah.
did kind of before it was a side project before we hit the road. But as we hit the road, the first 2 years, it was really our main source of income.
Okay.
And we were only bringing in $2,000 a month, but we thought that was great at the time to give you perspective about, our lifestyle.
Where we were and
Right.
to where we are now. But so because of that, that income fluctuated every month depending. And so we had to just be really mindful about our budget, and we had the calendar on our refrigerator, and we would write down every day how much money we spent so that we would stay on track, because our goal was never to be homeless and struggling or anything, but we wanted to be mindful about it to make sure that we had all of our needs met. We were having all the experiences we wanted to have, because that's where we wanted our money to go, is what we could go see and do in these national parks, and just really trying the local cuisine maybe at somewhere, but not, trying to be cutting out, I don't know what I'm trying to say anymore.
There's this thing called free camping, and it exists out west big time, but you can camp in the middle of these national forests, in the middle of just Bureau of Land Management, no cost, so beautiful, so much space. You
Quiet,
still
serene.
get great cellular connection, so we can
Better
still
than
stream
any
Netflix.
RV park you could ever want.
So we would spend 5 days and have big zeros on the calendar of not spending a dime for 5 days in a row, and that
How
was
cool is that? How many
it was
people
awesome.
in the country? How many people in the world?
Yeah.
Can say that?
And that was
that's
awesome.
what I think I was trying to get at, is it became a game to
Yeah.
us.
Right.
Some days it wasn't like we had to spend $0, but it felt so great that our day was full, and yet we spent nothing to get that experience.
And we gave ourselves maybe a $50 budget a day. So if we spent 5 days with $0, we're gonna go and do something awesome on the weekend.
Yeah, that's so. How did you pay the bills in the beginning? Was just the website, and then you would do some gigs as well?
No gigs. We did spend a year planning, and during that year planning, we saved as hard as we could.
Okay.
So we had a decent amount of savings set aside, and that was so the Etsy shop would help, but then also that savings would help.
Yeah, that was our fallback. If we ever needed it, we had it there.
And
that
we
was
needed
part
it
of
every
our
month.
planning process. Is we don't know what to expect. We've never done this before. We, have limited options of examples to see people who went before us who did this. So we just wanted to be prepared that if our truck broke down, we can get it fixed. If our rig needs a repair, we can get it fixed. We're not going to be stranded out here.
Yeah.
So that was kind of our starting point. And slowly along the way, our YouTube channel, started to kind of grow. Our community grew. We found connections on the road, and we've really grown our blog now, and now we're definitely not spending $0 a day anymore.
It would be nearly impossible.
Well, there's an addition to the family. You guys have a beautiful young daughter now,
Yeah.
so
That's right.
yeah, it's impossible not to spend money on kids. I promise you.
It is amazing to see the way the business has grown, because we are at a place now where we feel very successful. But if we started where we are now, we could have never had those experiences, because you have to be poor to have those experiences.
But you guys also kind of so what's cool is you guys flipped life on its end, right? So most people go through their life and they work all of their young life to hopefully get to the point in retirement where they can go do the things that you guys said, no, we're just going to get this out of the way now, and we'll worry about the rest of that later. And so you got to enjoy those experiences at a younger age, which is, I think, is awesome.
And honestly, that's what helped us have a successful business, is by following what we wanted to do and by believing it was the right thing to do. And even knowing it was the right thing to do, it led us to where we are today. And, we're totally grateful for following that calling.
Definitely. And Kyle, you've always said that you just want to make money being you or doing
Yes.
what you love.
My
and
ultimate
living your
goal in life is just to get paid for being myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've come close.
And we have definitely, I
Yeah.
think, achieved that point. And in sharing our journey and our learning process and the mistakes and the successes, and hopefully now can share all of that with others who frequent our website and our YouTube channel and within our community. And we now mainly share informative pieces and articles.
And that's really any successful business, no matter what it is. The only true core principle that is ever really there is to bring value. And you guys bring value to what you do. If not, you wouldn't be getting, what was it, 2 million hits?
Yeah,
on,
a month.
on the web. That's a lot.
Not too shabby, right?
Yeah. So people are obviously paying attention, and they're paying attention because you're bringing value. You just get the benefit of bringing value to something that you're passionate about, which, that's good work.
And to me, it was a pleasure. It is still a pleasure to share, because the thing that I had no clue that free camping existed. And so now
I
it's
didn't
like,
either.
yeah, I want to share
Until
with everyone.
like 3 minutes ago.
And I'm like, holy crap, this exists. How can I let people know that their tax dollars pays for it, and it's their duty to go enjoy it?
Exactly. And that was the thing, is like, we did what we needed to get ourselves out there. And that was kind of like, in our planning process, we were like, okay, we have this Ford Ranger. What can we pull with this Ford Ranger? Because we didn't want to start out our journey with a ton of debt.
Or any
we were
payments.
trying to do this minimally and on a budget. So we found this 16-foot little camper, which everyone that ever saw us or met us on the road, they would first say, oh my gosh, your trailer's so cute. And number two, how have you not killed each other? And
I've seen the trailer. So I looked at my wife. I've never said this to her, and you don't have to share it with her, but I thought, there's no way.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, we had our fair share of learning curves.
I would
along the
drive
way.
her crazy in that confined area.
Yeah.
I would.
We've come close a few times when we were living in it, but
Yes, but
more or less, it was totally fun.
yeah, we got married after a few
That's
years
right.
living in it, so apparently didn't drive us too crazy.
That's awesome. So, walk me through how the YouTube channel and the blog kind of evolved from idea to we can actually make this into a viable business that pays the bills.
So, as I said, we started because I did want to get free RV campsites, and
Wanted some swag.
Yeah, and wanted some free stuff. That's cool too. So we were getting that within a few
That
months.
was not my motivation,
No.
by the way.
But as my motivation, we started receiving free campsites a month after we started it. And so the first year kind of looked like that. Maybe in the first 2 years looked like that. We were putting out content about camping, and we were
Reviews
in exchange.
about campgrounds, about products.
We were doing product reviews and campground reviews, and that felt like a success to us because we were saving money, we were still running our Etsy shop, and everything was good. But then we got to this point where we met some more friends in the desert a few years later, and they told us a few tricks how we could make more money doing it if we did a few SEO, search engine optimization changes to it. And we did those, and we started making some more money, so that was even cooler. So that was probably the year 3 where we started making a little bit more money. Year 4, we decided to get rid of our Etsy shop and do the YouTube full time. And then year 5, we started doing the blog thing. And then all those forces combined over time and just continued growing, got us to where we're at today, where now we have a lot of freelance team helping us create the content, and a few other RV educational businesses going on the side of that. But I guess that's a really vague answer, but it really happened so organically.
It did happen
So
organically
no
and over a long
background
period
in
of time.
digital
Oh my
marketing?
gosh, not at all.
We were
We've-
learning on the fly.
Everything we learned as we went. So
Yeah, it was sometimes it's a little embarrassing going back and seeing our first YouTube video.
Yeah.
If anyone wants a good laugh,
That's awful.
check that out. We look like frozen zombies reading
People-
off
yeah.
teleprompters or something with
We-
no emotion, and
We can relate to that for sure.
well,
Can
that
we,
makes
Bill?
us feel good.
Yeah, we've created some stuff. So the marketing team, and I have zero marketing capabilities, but the marketing team used to consist of Bill and Jesse and myself, and
right.
none of us knew how to use Adobe.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we created some stuff that looked like you gave a 5-year-old crayons and they drew it, and we would stand back and say, it looks good, doesn't it? And we look back on that and we're like, oh God,
Yeah.
that was horrible.
Yeah.
But
I think we started with our like iPhone 4s.
Oh, yeah.
like,
A GoPro,
shakily
yeah.
filming things along the way. But what we found out is like the quality doesn't really matter as long as you're being genuine and authentic and you're telling your story. People are receptive to that, and we built a tight-knit community
Yeah.
around that. And some of our best friends we've ever made in life we met through that community.
Totally.
So I'm beyond grateful for all the doors that it opened for us.
I'm sure that you guys receive a lot of gratitude correspondence for, you know, helping inspire people, other people to
We love
go
that.
do
we
that.
would meet people on the road all the time, and they said, we hit the road and we got out here and we're doing this because of you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope you're liking it and
Yeah.
enjoying it.
How cool of a feeling is that
It's
inside?
awesome. Yeah. Because truly we have those people for us that we watch their YouTube videos, and we got to meet them and
They
say,
paved the
thank
way
you
for
so
us.
much for teaching us. And
Yes.
so to see that now, people say that to us, it's we understand where they're coming from, and we're so grateful that someone else was affected.
And not
by-
everyone like does it like we do it.
Mm-hmm.
People from all walks of life choose this lifestyle, whether they're just burn out and don't want to work the 9 to 5 anymore, or they're retired. There's so many reasons
Mm-hmm.
people do this, and now that it's so easy to work remotely, so many more people have the opportunity to do it before they're retired. So it was really cool meeting other people our age, like working age, full-timers, families out on the road, and seeing the different ways that people traveled. Some people would be in gigantic Class A's and fifth wheels, or our little 16-foot camper, or a tent camper, and we'd all be around the same campfire. And I love that it was so unifying
Yeah.
and universal.
Because around that campfire, it doesn't matter how much money you make or don't make. Everyone's
Right.
just out there enjoying nature together, and that's very cool.
And I think that's why, for sure, that's why they do it. You know, sometimes you got to disconnect to connect.
Totally.
And I have a camper that I stay in Evergreen at the hunting camp, and so when I go up there, and Steph will go with me sometimes, and she remarked one time, and we don't travel with the camper; it's just it stays in Evergreen. But sitting on the property there, all of that stuff that's what it is, right? Just stuff that's there in your daily life just wasn't there. You know, you
Totally.
wake up and you're hearing the birds chirping, and you have a cup of coffee and nobody's bothering you, and you know, no neighbors, no offense, Brianna.
Yeah.
Where'd she go?
totally. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
sure she's glad
but-
to have us out of the yard.
But yeah, so I can definitely relate to that. So now you guys are part-time
That's
RVers.
right.
Is that because of the baby?
It is largely because of the baby.
Yes.
It just became so challenging for our sanity and for how much Nora wants to move that we couldn't do it in the 23-foot Airstream? Or?
Yeah, so we didn't even touch on the fact that we took on this huge renovation of the vintage Airstream Argosy, and then I became pregnant in the middle of that renovation. We
Fun stuff.
completed
Yeah.
the renovation just before Nora was born, brought her home first day to the Airstream, and lived
Almost a whole year.
first year of
Yeah.
her life in the Airstream, and she was just beginning to walk. And that's when we were like, you know what, between this and the uncertainty of the world and health at this time, it's like, let's get a little cottage in town, and we will part-time until we can figure out the path forward from here. It's like we still obviously love traveling, but she definitely needed some space to practice her new skills.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys going to get back on the road with her? Are you going to homeschool?
Oh, well, so that's still a ways off, but there's a large chance we will. We
Yes.
definitely will get back on the road. We'll take trips, this upcoming season.
Yeah, we
Okay.
have lots of trips planned already. So she's definitely going to get out there and see all the amazing things that we've got to experience. I would love to see it through her eyes. I think it'll be a completely new experience for us, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I think that's awesome that she'll have that opportunity to see life in a different perspective.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
So where are you planning on going, or can you not
Yeah,
share that? Is
no,
that top secret
we'll
stuff?
definitely go to the Southwest this winter. It's
Okay.
one of the, it's the only place I've talked about so far, I think, is going out to Arizona. But, it is
It has
truly.
a place in our heart,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's The weather is beautiful in January and February. It's so much better than the rest of the country, in our opinion,
And
during that winter season.
because all RVers kind of migrate in the same patterns, they end up in the same areas at the same time of year. So in the winter, they're either in the Southwest or Florida. So you're bound to run into all of your friends. And thankfully, we've got a lot of friends that we've made along the way, and we love being able to catch up with them and obviously let them be able to hang out with Nora now that she's kind of grown up a little bit. It's like it doesn't matter how much time passes reconnecting with friends that are also RVers. It's like no time has passed. It's like when you meet, you have no time for small talk and things that don't matter, because that may be the last time you ever see this person. So you really have to
Right.
get to the meat and potatoes of like, do you vibe with this person or not? Are they
Right.
going to show up in your life again later or not? So you kind of really just get into the heart of things. And we've had some great discussions within minutes of meeting someone. And then we'll be driving randomly somewhere in the country and I'll get a text and say, hey, we just passed you. Like, how small is this world that
Right.
all of a
Yeah.
sudden now we're passing each other?
It's like passing your neighbor on your neighborhood road, but it's like for us,
Right.
it's passing our RV friends on the interstate. It's
Right.
like, it happens randomly anywhere.
So, is it predominantly Arizona when you're in the Southwest? Is that
So in the wintertime in the Southwest, we're going to stay at low elevation Arizona more or less. So it could be Arizona, it could be California, New Mexico, Texas even. A lot of RVers go to Florida. I feel like the only place we've been over the last year and a half is Florida. Every trip is to Florida. So we need to, change it up a little bit.
just
But-
because that's close to our hometown,
Yeah.
where we end up, stopping to visit grandparents and parents and all of the above. We can't keep Nora away too long.
Yeah, so and the other option in the winter is like the Texas Gulf Coast, which we really enjoy as well, and we could stop by
Okay.
there too. But
But the Southwest, I'd never seen the desert before we hit the road. I'd never seen mountains before. So I felt like a little kid,
Yeah.
like seeing
Yeah.
all of these things for the first time. And being out in the desert and seeing mountains on every horizon and just how
It's enchanting.
big
Oh.
the sky is.
yes,
Here in Alabama, it's like pine trees block your view no matter which way you look. But just seeing as far as the eye can see, and those sunsets that hit the mountains in the evening and they turn purple and pink, best sunsets I have ever seen. And that's controversial saying that when you live on the Gulf Coast.
I was going to say it's argumentatively we have some amazing
they are
sunsets
amazing.
here.
Yeah,
So yeah, but I've seen both. I've been
Yeah.
to Arizona and in my travels and have seen the sunsets there, and they're different for sure.
yeah. And the other great thing about Arizona is that there is probably hundreds of thousands of acres of free camping land. So it's like we just get a bunch of our friends together, circle up the RVs, and spend a week or two out in the middle of nowhere.
So for anybody that's listening that this sounds intriguing
Yeah.
to, what's your advice?
Oh, so my advice off the top would be do it. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. You can get even a new travel trailer for relatively inexpensive and a used one for very inexpensive. So I would say it's probably one of the best ways to travel right now. You don't have to rely on an airplane. You don't have to rely on a hotel. You have the freedom to go wherever you'd like to go. So do it and watch our videos to learn how.
and
There you go.
Go into it with just an open mind and a light heart. Some mistakes will happen along the way, and you just have to learn to roll with it. That's part of the unpredictability of it. But the good thing is, you got roadside assistance. They can come help you. You got a good set of tools. You can change a tire. It's like nothing is impossible. You can figure your way out of anything. And if it isn't your thing, then you can do it just on the weekends.
Right.
It's like it doesn't have to be a full-time thing for everyone. Some people love to just go out for
Yeah.
a weekend or a week or a month. And you can do it in whatever capacity fits your lifestyle. But I do highly recommend getting out there and trying it.
So touching on the tools thing, because we
Yeah.
are a tool company, right? So touching on the tools stuff, what are the tools that somebody, what do you have to be self-sufficient
Totally.
out on the road?
And this is such a hard question to answer, because what I'd want to do is bring all the tools with me. But you have such strict weight limitations
Right.
when you're towing an RV. So choosing the right tools is super important. And one of the mistakes that we made for the longest time is we did not have a battery-powered drill. And that is the first tool that in a drill set with all the right bits and
Well,
everything.
and we didn't have a generator.
Or a generator, yeah.
That's
oh yeah,
pretty
so
high up there too.
drill,
If you count that a
generator,
tool.
and a wrench, ratchet little set.
Yeah, and it depends on the rig too. So some of these big fifth wheels and Class A's, you're going to need a little bit heavier duty type of tools if you want to change those tires, if you are even going to take on that task. And then for like smaller travel trailers like us, like just your standard like household like little set of tools would probably be enough for any repairs that pop up with that. But
Air
also,
compressor, I would say too.
an air compressor would be great. And if you're towing, whatever tools you might need for your truck, if you're handy to work on your own vehicle or you want to change your own oil, those types of tools are needed. We have friends that try to bring and do travel with their whole tool chest in the back of their trucks, which they can do a little bit better because they are putting that weight in their truck versus the back
versus
of their...
in the camper.
Exactly.
But the most important thing is to have it organized and compact, so
And secured.
and secured. So anything that can make it
Everything you need, nothing that you don't.
Exactly.
Exactly. And you'll figure it out along the way. You might go out and do a few test trips and realize I have never ever used these items, and so you kind of take away what you don't need and add the things you do need. So
And then you'll
some
need that
practice runs
item
helps
the
that.
next time you go out because you left it in the garage, so
It always works out
Yeah.
that way.
So was your friends and family immediately supportive? Anybody grabbing you on the shoulder saying, "Look, let's talk about this for a minute"?
we're like two hippies, so our families
They were
just
like, "They'll be fine.
They
They got
expected
this.
it of
This is
us.
they're just like, what else would you guys
This
do?
was like the next natural progression for us. I
Yeah.
think they were like, "Oh, of course they are."
yeah." That
sounds
makes
cool.
sense. Perfect sense.
Exactly.
We've
But-
run into people who've had challenges with their family,
Yes,
though.
we definitely have friends whose families were not fans at all and thought that they were losing it and very upset with their decision. But, them living the dream was proof enough, I think.
Well, any break from the machine is always
Yeah.
generally going to be met with that in some way, shape, or form.
Totally.
The people stuck in the machine want to say, that's just not normal.
And the number one thing that people tell us is that you're going to get axe murdered out there, and it's, or don't go to these states, or don't go too close to the border, or anything.
Because it
it's
sounds
like,
scary when you say we're out boondocking
Yeah.
in nature, but the reality is like it's only a few miles away from the main road. You have a beautiful landscape, but you're not away from civilization. You still
Right.
have access to shopping and all the amenities you need. And the good thing about these areas is they're managed by the federal government.
Oh, yeah.
And so they have rangers coming through all the time. If you ever need anything or need to call anyone for any type of help, it's like you're covered.
yeah,
So 5 years, 6 years,
5 years.
5
Yep.
years, and this is going to be a lifelong journey.
Well, yes, it definitely is.
Not as full timers, but as part timers, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the RV industry is deep within us now, and it would be hard to pull away from that because it offers so much opportunity for us to travel. We've made awesome friends, both RVers and within the industry, that for us, it is a journey that I would say can't last any shorter than 20 years, but it would probably be the rest of our life.
And we've been stationary now for 3 months,
Yeah.
and I'm already antsy.
I was
so
going
if
to say,
that
so
tells
that
you
was my
anything,
next question,
yeah.
I'm like, when is our next
right?
trip?
Are we going yet?
I know.
Yeah.
So, and we've just started planning some trips, and I look forward to taking it out on the road
Yes.
and knowing that it's not my home now,
Yes.
Right.
knowing that it's just my recreation vehicle.
Yes, but on the
Okay.
flip side, we love having a home base now. That was one thing we lacked, so we were always staying in my sister's backyard, cramping her style. She never said that, but
Right.
it's like, you feel like you're imposing when you stay too long with family and friends. So it's nice that we have a place to land when we need it, and if we need a little refresher. But we have our rig safely stowed away and ready to roll whenever it's time to hit the
Yeah.
road again.
So have some of the larger RV companies reached out to you to do PR stuff for them?
We've definitely worked with a few in the past. Keystone, Montana is one brand that we did a project with, and Battleborn Lithium Batteries. We have an upcoming project with Forest River, which is a huge RV
Yeah.
manufacturer. And then a lot of afterparts companies, Dometic, a few other, Activa, water filter stuff. So it's
And are they finding you or are you finding them?
Well, both I think,
Okay.
and then a lot of times getting back to this desert, which it doesn't seem like we can get away from, but there's like RV shows and gatherings, and it's like whenever
There's a lot of
you
networking.
go there, yeah, it's like, even though it's a social event, it's huge networking, and we just run across other businesses and meet people along the way.
Okay.
And then we even form other businesses with our RV friends. So one of our other businesses now is called RV Masterclass. It's where we offer online education about people who want to get into the RV lifestyle. And then
Okay.
RV Digital Strategy Agency as well. So it's
Which
like,
so many-
yeah, why can't we just relax now? RVing has become a job.
It is our life.
That's
We live and
that's
breathe
cool,
it,
though.
so I don't think we're getting away from
Yeah.
it anytime soon.
That's awesome. So, what else do you want people to know about what you do and the value that you bring?
So what I want people to know about is that the free camping exists. It's the best way to reconnect with nature. It's the best way to have a vacation with a family, in my opinion. And that if you want to learn about free camping, come visit our website or just type it in online, because it, for me, makes RVing the most enjoyable experience. It gets you away from that RV park.
How did you guys find out? So you didn't have a background in camping. So how did you find out about? Was that like a fluke? Like, what do you mean I
YouTube,
can
yeah.
stay here for free?
I saw it on YouTube and I watched a video. I'm like, this is got to be fake. And then I saw another video about it. So then I'm like, Olivia, we don't have to pay to camp, and we can camp at these beautiful spots.
Right outside
Yeah.
national parks with the same views inside the national parks. Just stunning, amazing hiking trails everywhere. It's like you can walk to a waterfall from your spot, or if you want to go to a hot spring, it's right around the corner. But on the flip side of that, that is what brings us a lot of joy.
Yes.
But after those long stays, boondocking out in the middle of nowhere, we love an RV resort.
RV resorts bring us much joy as well. We love soaking in the hot tub.
So it's like you're painting a very one-sided picture of
Right.
RV life, but there's all different types of experiences. And if you want to just soak in a hot tub and have a luxury resort experience, that's out there too. You don't
Yes.
have to rough it either. So
That's true.
there's definitely a wide array of different
So I
experiences.
might be able to get Steph to do this after all.
Yes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Because
it's-
her idea
Stay
of
at the
camping
resort.
is like Holiday Inn.
Get a
Trust me,
national park
Yeah.
pass. I highly recommend that, because then you pay what, $85, $100 a year,
I think
and
85.
it gives you entry to every national park in the
Really?
country, and even discounted camping at I think some of the Corps of Engineer parks.
And national parks are expensive to get into. It's like $25 a day. So if you get one of these
Per
passes,
person.
so you get a pass, you can really use it.
And the pass is per person as well?
no, the pass is for the whole car.
Yeah, it's for the whole
Okay.
car. So it's like if you want to go in multiple times a day, it's going to end up racking up a lot of
Yeah.
money. So it's a great way to go to, just go see this country. It felt like I was stepping onto the moon when we went to Utah and Arches for the first time, and seeing these red rock formations. I mean, it just seemed out of this world
Yeah.
to me. So like, if you haven't seen this country yet, it's like RVing is a great way to do it, and
America
a more affordable way
is
to do
awesome.
it if you want it.
There is
That's-
so much.
That's one of the things that I've argued. I get to see a lot of the country. I don't get to enjoy much of what I see. But I tell people all the time, we live in a country where you have everything that they have everywhere else that you want to go. I mean, literally, we have everything in this country, just in the lower 48.
Yes.
That you can find anywhere in Europe. We've got the Keys, so you've got the islands. I mean, there's
Yeah.
every
Go
landscape that
snorkeling,
you
that beautiful blue
everything
water.
that you could want to do somewhere else, you can do
Totally.
in your own backyard.
We have relatives who are intent on going overseas, and that's cool. But I wanted to say, you need to go to these places in America, because there are awesome things that your mind can't even comprehend.
See what's right in your own backyard.
Right.
And it's amazing, some of these places where you drive a few miles and all of a sudden you're not in the desert anymore, and you're in the lush green mountains, and how the terrain changes, and learning the history of this country, seeing the different communities along the way, and it's just like a little pocket of an artistic community with local grown coffee and artwork and pottery, and it's just amazing. It's not always the destinations that bring us the most
Yeah.
joy, but it's the little places we found along the way. So it really is about the journey. And I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, don't get so set on the destination that you miss the joy of the journey, because a lot of times that's where the most rich experiences come from.
Most beautiful place you've been?
Well, I would say Utah is the most beautiful state we've been to. There is so much you can see in Utah, and that's where I would say people should go if they want to see beauty or nature beauty.
Yeah, I think it depends on like what you're looking for too. One of our other favorite places is the Badlands,
Totally.
South Dakota, and just seeing the grasslands, the gold grass and wheat, and then those storms roll in and turns the sky this dark blue, and see the lightning strike throughout the valleys below. I mean, it is a spiritual experience.
I mean, and we're at these campsites looking at these things, and then we also have these humongous mountain goats. Is that what they are?
The
Mountain
bighorn
goats?
sheep.
Bighorn sheep. They walk up right to our camera. These are wild
Buffalo,
things, yeah.
just
But it's crazy to
roaming
see the
around.
wildlife too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, guys, thank you for joining me. It's really awesome to get to know a little bit more about you and what you guys have done. And again, I'm a big fan of people creating their own destiny and living the life that they want to live. And I think you guys epitomize that. So,
Well, we're flattered to hear that, and thank you for having us here, because I mean that's our goal too, is to do what we are called to do and do it the best we can.
awesome. So again, what's the YouTube channel, the website? How do people get in touch with you?
It's Drivin and Vibin YouTube. The website is Drivin and Vibin, but really just type in Drivin and Vibin anywhere. You can find
Yeah.
us however you prefer to take in content, written, video.
Instagram,
Music.
YouTube. Yeah, we have an album
Yeah, you're
too.
you're also a
songs
good
we
musician,
written from the
right?
road.
So
We're
you
gonna have to
did
do
our
another
Christmas party
podcast.
one
Yeah,
year.
that's right.
So I remember most of that night.
It was
Yeah.
a fun night. I had a
Yeah.
great time.
Awesome.
Thank you
guys,
for having us, though.
Thank you again. I
Yeah,
appreciate
we
it.
had a great time.
Guys, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again soon in the Cutting Edge Garage. That was awesome, guys. Thank you.